Hello everyone, I'm here with the April psychic prediction video. So, let's get into it. When I tune into April, of course, the Ukraine situation is what comes to mind first. So, what I saw was Putin getting what he wants within the first week of April. And I know this might not be what most people would expect to hear because most people think that, he's failed because that seems to be what the Western media is saying. And I'm getting a completely different picture that he's actually succeeded in what he was trying to do. I saw a picture of a man with a tie on his neck, and Putin was holding onto this tie as if it was like a rope, and he was tightening it around his neck. Within the first week of April, it seems that Putin is really tightening his grip, so to speak, and getting what he wants. However, after the first week or so, I see him lessening his aggression and focusing more on building the economy of the places that Russia has conquered, so to speak, within Ukraine, the places where Russia has taken over control and is now basically running the government within Ukraine. I see them bringing relief and aid to these areas and really integrating them more into the Russian economy rather than continuing to push forward and conquer more land. It seems to be more of a focus on that. Of course, I just heard the walls popping, which is always a sign that energy is moving. So it seems to be something about that. Putin sitting back and being very accomplished and happy is what I am seeing for the month of April. I do see some eastern battles continuing, however, in the eastern area of Ukraine, that is. However, they are lessening. And halfway through next month, not next month, because next month is April, but halfway through May, I see it going down another notch even more. So it's going down a notch after the first week of April, and then halfway through May it kind of goes down another notch to being more just Russia being in defense rather than offense. Although there's still, it's all how you look at it. There's offense because they're going into another country, but they're more operating out of defending the land that they have already taken rather than expanding further. I did say before in one of my videos, I think it was my video on Putin or maybe it was on Zelensky, I don't remember. But either way, I said that I don't see nukes being involved, and I still don't see any nukes for April 2022, and I honestly don't see any nukes in the future regarding this war with Putin. However, what I do see that was very interesting about Putin is it's as if he has done his part of his plan, and that's back to how he's sitting back in his chair, very happy and feeling accomplished. It's as if there was a plan and he has done his part, and now he's done with that. So I saw an image of him handing off a circus baton to someone else, and this is symbolic of him kind of like handing the talking stick or the microphone to someone else. This person that he was handing it to was a war strategist, but I got the sense that they're more concerned about the economy than winning a war, but it's kind of a mixture of both. And he's focused more on the bigger plan, bigger picture of what's going on, um, involving world economies, or the world's economy, but countries' economies. And this specifically has to do with the concentrated area of Ukraine and the north of Ukraine and slightly west of Ukraine as well. But also just in general everywhere of the whole world and just kind of radiating from that area. And when I tried to tune into what this is about, what I got was the phrase integration of trade. And so integration, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I assume that probably means being integrated into Russia and their control. This does have to do specifically with competing against Western interests, and I do see this being good for Russia and this actually working out for Russia. Despite the news saying that Russia's failed, etc., etc., I kind of see something different going on here, that it's actually Russia getting kind of exactly what they wanted here. Within the Baltic Sea, because I've had many people contacting me wanting to know what I see coming up for April and beyond within the area around Finland, Sweden, the Baltic Sea, and just the countries around there. For April, I don't see much of an effect going past Poland or Estonia. Actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. Actually, this is more for like the next couple years, or for the next year. I don't see much effect going past Poland or Estonia. Definitely for this month, I do not see any conflict near Finland or Sweden. However, I do see a slow, drawn-out economic strategy that takes years to build up that eventually will have an effect in those areas. So this is not anytime soon, maybe within the next 2 years or so. So in the future, though, this is going back to a psychic prediction video that I made before, the Ukraine invasion even happened, where I was seeing a potential of war or explosions happening on the South Ocean side of Sweden. And when I tune into it now, I see a possibility of bombings from aircraft along the ocean, specifically involving ships and trade. Of course, this is all very speculative and it could just be symbolic in nature, so please just take this all with a grain of salt. I do see the bottom half of Finland and Sweden could be up in arms about something. Like this red energy is the type of energy I was seeing it as. But the north part of Finland and Sweden, I don't see many worries. And this is in the future if this event does happen. It seems to me that there's more of a conflict that causes alarm than there is any like serious war or anything to actually worry about here. It could also involve Russian territories as well that border around that area. This does seem to be a battle over politics of resources, starting to build up in around 1.5 years from now. Again, this is just political tensions that may actually be ignored by the citizens of the countries, and I see that in general the citizens of the country don't need to worry about this, and there's no serious problems that would come from ignoring the situation and not worrying about it. However, I do see potentials for business being affected within those countries. So I will be looking at this situation as time progresses, but for this month reading, I'm going to move on. So overall, this month, actually, I see this month as being an amazing month that is within the frequency. The vibration is going up again, and we're reaching a new vibration. So you may experience synchronicity in your life, and you may even experience moments where you feel like you're telepathic or something like that. Or maybe you'll just be straight up telepathic. So, crypto, for the first week of April, I see it being great. And I predicted this like 2 months or maybe 1 month ago. I don't know. It was a while ago. I predicted that this would be the month that is, or sorry, April coming up here will be the month that is great for crypto. So I see it going up within the first week of April. Then volatility sets in, but I don't necessarily see it going up and down. I see it kind of going down and then kind of back up and down, back up, but kind of the peak being kind of a flat line, although it could potentially go higher than it does in the first week, but not very much. I also see that there could also be a potential new high in May or June, but not necessarily much higher than April. Although, take this all with a big grain of salt. I could be wrong, and this is not investment advice, just something to maybe consider as a potential possibility. I also do see that in April, crypto may become more legitimized by politics and business and just the public perception of it. So when I tune into April, just as a frequency, as a color, I saw it as green. And I got the sense that the general energy of it is starting from the beginning. I also saw an image of somebody working with old rusty nuts and bolts. And it was kind of dirty because of all the rust, but they were fixing it up. And I had to do it this month being about fixing up these old rusty nuts and bolts, so to speak. Also, honoring those from the past as well as the present. And so there's a sense of things from the past being renewed. And also renewing the old rather than starting something new. So when you think of green, a lot of the times you think of starting something new, but this is more so about renewing the old, the things that are already in place, and kind of refreshing them rather than starting something new. Also for the month of April coming up here, I see it being good to be around water, specifically the ocean. So if you can go to the ocean, that would be probably a good thing to do. Just this overall sense of renewal, and this energy, this new frequency of the earth. It's kind of renewing, and it can travel through the water in a similar way that water is conductive. What I get is that this month, people's differences will kind of just wash away. It's very refreshing and renewing, and just like this deep sense of honor and respect, as well as melting just your resistance away to life's situations and just being able to just be more in the moment. So this month coming up here, April, is very healing to relationships of all kinds, that being intimate, friends, or family, all of the above. I got the sense of justice being restored and balance being highlighted as something that or something to be aware of, or something that we will be more aware of naturally, is our balance within our relationships, within our give and take, within setting boundaries, and just making things more fair in our lives. There's also a sense of solving karmic patterns associated with this, and integrating the bigger pictures rather than focusing on this or that. It's kind of like looking at the big picture and really integrating that into your life and seeing where you stand within that, within relationships to the world as well as others. So when I tune into Joe Biden, I don't see very much activity coming from Joe Biden. So nothing too exciting there. However, the world seems to be integrating this new vibration before much more activity will take place. So I think that this may take all of April and maybe halfway through May before more activity starts ramping up as far as changes taking place. But there's a lot of awareness and energetic changes taking place first. There's an emphasis on new ways of being connected, and this is with the world around you and people and just all of existence. When I tune into the Earth new vibration and things that may be happening on the planet, I saw volcanoes. So there could be possible volcanoes, or that could be symbolic. I'm not sure. But I saw an image of volcanoes and possible Earth changes taking place in relation to this new vibrational frequency. And what I did get is that these Earth changes that are taking place are 100% natural. They're not man-made. They're not manipulated in some way. These are natural events coming from the Earth, herself, itself, however you want to look at it. And this is the Earth shifting to become more sensitive. And so people on the Earth are kind of part of the Earth. And so people will be more sensitive during the month of April, or will be learning to be more sensitive. And so this whole desensitized culture that we live in will be becoming a little bit more sensitive. When I tune into what is good for April, what comes up for me is compassion. Is a great thing to encourage in April. Integration, water, and you could potentially take water and put it out in the sunlight in glass, not plastic, because it will block the transfer of energy. But if you put the water in the sunlight in glass, leave it out there for a couple hours with some bright sunlight on it, take it back inside and take a sip of it and compare it to water that hasn't been sitting out in the sunlight, and you'll notice a difference. So, maybe try updating your water purity and try something like that out. That might be helpful this month. This month is also good for cleansing in general. Cherished memories are also coming up. So any sort of situation where you may be able to take the time to cherish some memories, that may be something to put yourself in the situation to experience. Noticing the web of life and where you are within this and how everything is integrated. I know I already said integration, but this is more the awareness of how things are integrated. Also a good thing for this month to pay attention to or try to experience. and noticing where to be more gentle. So there's a gentle theme to this month, and learning to be more gentle. So what is this month bad for? Specifically, when I asked that question, the first thing that I saw was just the color red. And I think that's kind of self-explanatory. So I think you can use your own intuition to tune into that and understand what that means for you. Other things that came up were self-glorification, ignoring the situation or bigger picture, overindulgence, being too much alone. Being alone too much of the time is not good to do this month, or coming up here in April. Trying too hard is definitely not a good energy to be in for the month of April. And this was a very interesting image that I saw, but what I got was trying to find power from the dark side, or trying to achieve power, or trying to find the secrets of the universe, so to speak, but in a way that's, through either the dark side or through trying too hard or pushing something rather than using gentleness. So, to kind of summarize here, my advice for the month is have honor and respect for what people are creating. Stay out of trouble. Go to the ocean if you can. If you can't, it's not a big deal. But if you can, it might be a cool thing to do. Find moments to bask in, or take the time to bask in some enjoyable moments. Just take the time to smell the roses, in other words. Ask yourself where you stand in your relationships. And keep in mind that old plans that didn't work out can be rekindled, and this is a great month for doing so. And that is my monthly psychic prediction and energy reading for April 2022. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.